How was your day been, man? I know it's late for you.
I mean the thing is, we are technically not in home quarantine anymore, but I'm still kind of paranoid. Yesterday, not yesterday. It will be like 2 days ago by now. It was National Day, right? And it was thousands of people were gathering around and seeing the fireworks and stuff.
Yeah.
And for me, it's then what's the point of us being out in quarantine for a few months then? So we are now here. Okay, I just gotta say this real quick. I know this happened in America as well. To celebrate and to thank our frontline workers, our healthcare worker, we think that the best idea to do is to fly fighter jets above hospitals.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So now we have, okay, so this is what happened on National Day, all right? We have fighter jets flying over hospitals. Then we have tanks, I shit you not, tanks going through the neighborhood and people waving their flags and going, yay! Murder! Fucking hell. And in the morning, and about 8:20 p.m., we have the siren, the public warning siren, blasting out to tell us that it is time to say the pledge and to sing the national anthem.
Whoa!
Holy shit.
Wait, so that's every morning, or is that just for this?
No. It was just for National Day. That's
For
a
National Day,
celebration
yes.
to give you a freaking ass warning, right?
Wow.
I can double confirm that. Yeah, whoever that is, I'm pretty sure that's a Singaporean. You know what I'm saying? It sucks. I hate it.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think there's nothing wrong with nationalism. I think it can go wrong really quickly. But I mean, to be woken up early in the morning just so so you can buy a lot. Wait, is it early in the morning, or is it like in the afternoon? Like, when is that? When do you
I
usually?
can't remember exactly. I can't remember what time it was exactly, but I think
Uh-huh.
it might be something like 10 a.m.
Oh, okay. So
Something
it is,
along that line.
So it's a little in the morning. I could see how that could be a little frightening to be sound the alarms. We're doing the national. We're saying the Pledge of Allegiance. that
okay.
seems a bit much. It does.
It's scary. I wrote on social media when it happened. I can't remember what it was because the whole house just went, "What the fuck just happened?"
Wait, is this something new? Is this something new that your country?
It was just for National Day, and it's the first time it has ever happened.
Oh.
And they wrote an article, and they say, "Oh, we are going to blast out across the island the public warning siren, which is incredibly scary. It's apocalyptic, basically."
Right.
And they say, "Please do not be alarmed." I'm like, "No, fuck you. We are going to be fucking alarmed." Holy shit!
Whoa.
Right.
Okay.
So
I'm getting the
so I gotta
gravity of
say-
this now.
It sounds like we have 30 seconds to get out of our house and hide under the table because there's a nuclear bomb coming.
Oh my god.
It's that scary.
That does sound
Incredibly
scary.
fucking scary.
I used to live across the street from a firehouse, and every morning, now this was every morning, they would wake up and start blasting an alarm, like it was like a tornado was coming, or there was like some kind of natural disaster, or we're under attack. Every morning, it was just to, and throughout the day as well, they would do it to call the volunteer firefighters to the firehouse, and they would blast this alarm. And I'm talking like, it's like, hold on, I'm trying to give people an example. That's not it. Hold on. It's like this. It would be like, God damn it, where is it?
Out in
No,
the street,
that's not
they
it.
call it
That is not it. So it's like this. If you can hear this. That is what used to go on across the street from my house. Every day, throughout the day, at random times, but every morning, because they tested it. They just had to test it to make sure that it worked. Are you serious, motherfucker? You ain't got a fucking radio? You ain't got a cell phone? It's fucking the 20th century, son. Wait, 21st century, son. Use that cell phone. You don't need an alarm to call people anymore. It's to say the least, it's alarming. So I get the frustration in that.
It's incredibly scary. Holy shit. I was in Taiwan, and like our phones, if our phone just started to have this alarm, and it doesn't matter whether from Taiwan or not, it'll just tell you like there's an earthquake coming. So the moment someone sees that on their phone, they lie flat on the ground. So that was as close as I got to like a natural disaster.
Yeah.
Like I was on like a 2 or 3 stories Airbnb, and my whole family, like none of us have been to an earthquake before, right? And my mom just kind of thought like, oh, this is what happens, and she was sitting down, and behind her was this painting. I was telling her, Mom, lie down. Then she's just like, what the fuck is even going on? Then I'm just flat on the ground like, Mom, there's an earthquake. Holy shit, do something. Yeah. Then she just sit there. But it's been 50 years of her life and she had never had an earthquake. And now suddenly the whole house is moving from left to right. She's just like, oh, I guess this is part of the tourism thing then.
This is part of the fun. Experience the earth shaking beneath you. Great. No, there's something about an earthquake that is so jarring, and like when I experienced my first one, because I grew up in Middle America, and in Middle America, the biggest thing you gotta worry about is floods or tornadoes. You go out to the West Coast, you got drought, you got earthquakes, you got tsunamis, the whole thing. So I never experienced an earthquake before, and so the first time I experienced like a real earthquake, I was in a grocery store, and I was checking out, and do you guys have self-checkout lanes in Singapore, like where you just check yourself out? There's no person behind the counter. You just go to a computer and you scan your stuff.
Yeah, we have it.
I'm sure you do. I don't know why I assume that only America has this technology. But anyways, that's part of the American mentality. But we'll get to that. But I was in this grocery store, and the monitor of the computer or the checkout machine started shaking like this. And I thought I was tripping because I'm not above using drugs. But like sometimes I get weird visuals even when I'm sober, so I had to like close my eyes and look at it again, and sure enough, the fucking thing was shaking. I look around and all I see is this huge I'm talking like this huge black dude sprinting out the front door, like running, like, and it dawned on me, and everybody starts running out the door, and I'm like, oh shit, it's happening. So I like start going out the door because I'm near the door. And then I forget Raina's in the store. And this is like 10 years ago. And me and Raina first started dating. So I had to go and get Raina because she went back to get like chicken or some shit. I go back. I start going to get her. And I see her ass laughing as shit. Like the lights in the ceiling are swaying. Shit's falling off of the shelves. And here she is with a packet of chicken, laughing her ass out. Ha 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 ha. This is so cool. Isn't this cool? And I'm like, fuck no. Let's get the fuck out of here. Cause it's not cool. And it ended up being okay. Obviously, I'm okay. Everyone turned out okay. But like from that point on, I had to, like, it messed up my equilibrium, I feel like, because from that point on, I would always get this feeling that there was an earthquake, and it messes up my balance. And so I would have to, like, there'd be times I would have to take a shower when I was still in California, that is. I would be taking a shower and I would have to like stop and look at something still because I felt like the earth was moving. So it like fucked me up physically for many years after. I mean, it's not like that anymore, to the point where I almost feel dizzy, or I felt dizzy just at the notion of an earthquake. I don't know. Did when you were in the earthquake in Taiwan, or did you experience any kind of like dizziness or like your balance was off?
It was rather short. Is this good? Just to check.
What?
Is it a bit soft? Is the volume okay?
Oh yeah, perfect.
Okay, great, because I don't want to hold this shit anymore.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah, so fuck that, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't last really long. It's like perhaps 20-30 seconds. But that 20-30 seconds was, oh my god, like it was in the thought of like, okay, like what I learned from videos and stuff is I should lie down, but I'm on the third floor, and the logic tells me that I should be running down and getting the fuck out of the place, because if it collapses, I'm on the third fucking floor.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
For sure.
But then now it's like, okay, education, common sense. And then there's my mom watching TV.
Which is funny. It's funny. It's funny when people. What I don't know why it's funny, but like when people are in dire need, and there's that one person who's just like carrying on their life like business is normal, like everything's okay as chaos is erupting, but around them, they're just walking down the street, drinking their mocha latte and talking on their stuff. You know, like there's something hilarious about that. I don't know what it is. Just your mom just sitting there in chaos, just like, oh, this must just be part of it. This is part of the fun of travel.
Right.
I love that. So, go ahead, man.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say the thing was, after the earthquake ended, she started going on WhatsApp and talking to her friends and stuff. Like she just went on a roller coaster. It's like, hey guys, I just had an earthquake. Oh, the house was moving from left to right. Oh my gosh, it was so exciting. I thought it was just like maybe like the cars were like really heavy today and shit. I was like, we are not in Universal Studios. Can you just we almost died. Can you notice the severity of what's going on?
She's just like casually just enjoying her life. No, that's, you know, I mean, it's those kind of people that you want to be around when shit really hits the fan, because I mean, for me, like my thought was like, panic, get the fuck out of here, run. You know, and luckily my wife was like, stay calm and just laugh at the situation. Now, I think there's a middle ground that can be found there. I mean, maybe laughing at chaos isn't the right answer, and maybe running from it. But you know, being sound of mind is what's the important part is. And you know, your mom was calm as shit, just like, oh, this is just, we're just doing it. I mean, that would make me calm if I was like a kid and my mom was super calm and shit was going crazy, but my mom was cool. It's like, I guess that's kind of a calming thing as well. Anyways, I'm really curious on first of all, what is there a lineage of artists in your family? Do you come from a family of artists? Do you come from a family of music, or no, nothing?
Hell no.
What,
I'm Asian.
I know, but
I
like,
am fucking Asian. Okay, you must understand this. Okay, in my country, the only thing that matters is the qualification that you have. Anyone who goes to drama school when you were a kid, anyone who goes to piano classes, violin classes, any kind of artistic classes, it's really for them to have that paper so that they can go to primary school, so that they can have an edge to go to high school and college and so on and so on. They don't give a shit if you can play Paganini on the violin. They don't give a shit if you can recite any Shakespeare sonnet. No one gives a fuck, really. So I remember when I first told my mom that I don't want to take a science course. I want to drop out from doing science.
Ooh.
And I was going to go to an art school. My mom just said, okay, yeah, that's good. And she just went to her room, locked the door, and started crying.
oh shit.
That is Asia for you.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
basically, I mean, of course, there is kind of people that goes away from this kind of like specificities, but usually if someone is to be an artist, they are either really rich or really dumb, or both, but that's quite unlikely.
Wait, that is so interesting. So dumb or rich affords you the life of an actor in Asia, in the Asian culture.
Or at least in Singapore.
at least
I don't
for
want to
Singapore.
be saying for the
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that is so interesting. So then where do you fit? So are you dumb or rich?
I'm dumb as hell,
I'm
man.
just fucking with you, man. I'm dumb too. I'm dumb too. To choose this life is like, why? But so then, how did you get past it? How did your family? Did your family get past it? I mean, are you on talking terms with your family? I don't know how that works.
Like like I don't want to go into like a sob story or whatever, but I am not in connection with my family at
Oh,
all.
okay. Right now.
Uh, I'm okay with it. I'm
Mhm.
okay with it, but it's just that it kind of hits me hard that I don't have that safety blanket anymore
Mhm.
because I'm not in talking terms. I can't be like, hey, no, we don't talk anymore, but I need to pay rent. Can you say,
Yeah.
slide me $1,000 or something? I can't do that shit no more.
Right.
So, in a way, that kind of forces me to really look at being an artist and being a freelancer, whatever you want to call it, in a more serious and pragmatic manner at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. I mean, when you're just when your back's up against the wall, you have nothing or nobody. It's like if you want to live this life as an artist, then you really have to start taking it serious. I mean, because you're right. I mean, there is sort of a luxury to being an artist, especially in this country too. I mean, the fortunate thing about this country is that you can be poor and smart and still make it as an artist. And I'm sure that's in your country too. I'm sorry if that came out wrong. I'm not trying to shit on Singapore in any way or any other country.
I'll do that for you.
I'm,
Don't worry. I'll do that for you.
but it's a but there is a lack of respect for artistry in this country, and I don't know. It is a hard sell for some people to try to like convince their parents. Luckily, my parents they didn't approve exactly, but they were supportive. And not everyone gets that, and some people do end up becoming disconnected from their parents because of those decisions, and that's really unfortunate. That's a really unfortunate thing. So in Singapore, then art is not really valued all that highly.
Uh,
I mean, it is like, for
okay.
instance, like movies are important, like as and art. People go to art museums and stuff, but like to be an artist and to pursue art is not something that's looked on upon as a profession to go into, as a logical profession to go into.
Yeah, it's just not logical.
Hmm.
I feel that works that kind of gets credited and gets people talking a lot are works that are in a way kind of something that you can brag about in a way.
Mm.
So before Yaoi Kusama did an exhibition in Singapore, not much regular people, that means non-arts people, would really be going to arts museum. But
Oh.
I know Yaoi Kusama, she would like to draw a lot of circles. You can paste. It's just very nice to take photos with. So her museum was jam packed. No one really give a shit what her work is about, or that she suffered her whole life with mental conditions, or that she was like one of the pioneering female artists in a male dominated world. No one really cared about that. They just wanted to be wearing their sponsored Daniel Wellington watch, posing so that they can take likes and show that they are cultured and shit. And in the same way with the arts world and even with the theater world, there is such a extreme difference with the highbrow theater where people would be waiting outside the room, drinking red wine and eating cheese,
Mm.
and there'll be people like me that will be getting um, people who are not so privileged to perform in playgrounds, to be performing in national parks for literally no money. And the money comes from arts grant and all that, of course, but you wouldn't see any wine in my place. So there is always this kind of duality with the arts world. There is that highbrow, be there to show that you were there
Mm.
kind of crowd, and there were the I want to do this because I want to serve a purpose. I want to serve a specific crowd.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Just sort of the show that you are a part of a certain elite crowd, that you are a part of the in crowd, that I see what you're saying. It's all about face value and not really a true appreciation of what the art itself. It's so that's interesting. So art is sort of a status symbol in Singapore, but still not respected in a sense. It's only respected in a sense that it's there for status. I know I'm totally condensing that into a shit statement, and please give.
I think that there are the exceptions where a crowd which generally pulls in the higher wages and higher positions, um, when they will do something that is more socially aware.
Mhm.
For example, there is this company called Pandemonium, where they visited schools that were teaching um, children to young adults who are in the autism spectrum, because they were doing this play called Falling, which is a autobiographical play about a mom taking care of a 17, 18-year-old autistic boy. So there are those kind of works coming out. But at the same time is I always feel, if your crowd is the crowd that will be able to afford that special education, will be able to afford all this special care and all these kind of programs for the kids, and you watch this show about a family who is middle class at best, who can't really afford to give a kid like a one-on-one treatment, then you only can understand and sympathize to that degree, because after this you're going to head out, and you're going to be eating your cheese, and you'll be drinking a wine again, so it's in a way, it's great work that you're doing, but at the same time is I wonder, is it in the kind of like a great tragedy kind of a situation where these people come out and go, oh, thank god that wasn't me?
Right.
Would it be something further where they'll go, okay, I see that this what's happening to people of a certain like class, and what can I do as someone who is privileged? What can I do? Can I sponsor these schools? Can I make sure that every kid gets to be given the most amount of care and work given to them so that they can reach their highest potential? Is it a possibility? I hope so. I hope that in like a 15, 20-day run, there could be that one person who earns 5, 6 digit a month who is willing to sponsor all these wonderful works that honestly is not getting enough like care by all these government bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I can see that. There, it reminds me of sort of in this country, what they call, what do you call it? Um, oh my God, what is it called when you're trying to show your moral superiority? Um, it's they're showing moral superiority. What is that called? Virtue signaling. Have you ever heard that term, virtue signaling?
Yeah, yeah.
There's kind of like this thing, especially here in America. I'm sure it's all over the world, but where people will be saying things like, Black Lives Matter and all this stuff, and they'll attack people online for messing up and saying something maybe they shouldn't have said. It was made a mistake and said something about black people maybe that didn't come out right or whatever it is. Cancel culture. People who show online that they are against this, racism or whatever it is, and really in their hearts, it's like, what are they doing other than writing something on Twitter? You know what I mean? And that's where their activism stops. They care so much about this, but really it's only to show their social points, only to gain social points, and not to actually make a statement or make a change or do anything that leads to any kind of real results or resolve. It's just complaining and yelling into this echo chamber. Is it sort of fall in that kind of category? Where it's just, I know it's completely different, and we're talking
Yeah.
art, and we're talking culture here, but
I think arts and social awareness and justice as it is interlinked. You can't do one without the other,
yeah,
because
yeah,
if you
exactly.
if you do, it really is just commercial, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's the importance to kind of distinguish between, like, oh, are you doing arts, or are you just like performing? That's kind of the difference. Um, that thing gets me very worried because it has been becoming more and more prevalent. Uh, Recently, I saw people commenting, "Oh no, how could this young girl do this dance of my ethnicity because she's of the racial majority and she's doing a minority dance in a jokingly in like a crude manner. That's terrible. That's awful. But then I remember that this girl, who I have no idea who she is, I don't know what's her belief. That is she actually racist or not? I don't know. But one thing that I do know is that she's 17. When I was 17, I'm a dumbass. The only difference is I don't have Instagram. That's the difference. Thing is now is with things being so immediate and being such a knee-jerk thing, and let out a lot of things that are just regrettable. And unfortunately, with the internet is once you put it out there, even if you were to remove it, someone could have screen capped it, and that could mean something that is incredibly detrimental for someone who is honestly hasn't quite developed their own belief on where they stand when it comes to most like serious topics. So we're not giving them that chance to grow and say, hey, I used to think that being this way was okay, and I realized I fucked up. I apologize, and I'll be a better person. And people come and go, oh, I'm gonna cancel you because you make fun of my ethnicity or my religion or this or that or my sexual orientation or this. Would love people to just come and have a conversation and say, hey, you did this thing and I'm of that group that you are being prejudiced about. So I would like to come and sit with you and I want to understand, why did you do that? Do you understand that that is from our culture and that you are appropriating it? And now that we tell you that, how do you feel about it? Do you still feel that it's justifiable? Why do you feel it's justifiable? Because it's not so clear cut. It really isn't that clear cut. I wish it is, because if it's that clear cut, then life would be so much easier. I'll be like, okay, you suck, you're good, move on. Why do we need the court? Why do we need any kind of system?
Right.
Screw it.
Yeah. No, the idea of shutting people down. Oh, hey, what's up, Plastics? Thanks for so much for thank you so much, Plastics, for stopping by. I appreciate it. That idea, and Mighty, how you doing? Thank you so much. The idea of shutting people down, and like this girl, for instance, who had the unfortunate experience to be canceled, and it doesn't sound like she was a famous person or anything. She just was a girl who put this thing on Instagram, and everybody hated her for it because they thought she was culturally appropriating. And because all that happened was that they all piled in on her, talked horrible, I'm sure said horrible things to her, made her feel terrible. I'm sure she probably shut down her Instagram or whatever happened. And the unfortunate part is, like you said, that there was no conversation that was had. All that she knows is that she was bad, and now she's a racist, and that's it. And she's been marked. That's it. And really, like you said, there's more nuance to it. Like, this is just a young girl. She don't know what the hell she's doing. And she just thought it was funny. And she was just having fun. And she doesn't hate, other people. It was just something she was doing. And she didn't realize that it hurts people's feelings that she did it. I feel like when you turn people and you label people and you say, like, you're racist for doing that. You made this mistake and now you're forever racist. You're shutting down a conversation that needs to be had. And I feel like without those conversations, what we end up getting are these, you end up pushing people in the arms of extremism. And I know that's a little much for this young girl, but it's true. It is true. I mean, we've seen it in my country. We're seeing it here. Is like, by shutting down the conversation, you're just creating more racists. You're not going to eliminate racism out of the hearts of man just by enforcing it, and just by telling them that you can't say that. And now if you say that, then you're done. You're creating extremists is what I'm saying. You're creating people who do start hating. You're creating people who are, because they're not being heard and because they're not being understood, they're just like, well, then I must be right. There, no one's contradicting me. No one allows me to be contradicted. No one allows this conversation to happen. So I'm right, and I'm just gonna go with it. And then I'm gonna find people online who are like-minded, and I'm just gonna jump on that train. So and then it spirals out of control, as we see what's sort of happening now, at least in my country. It's interesting that in Singapore that you guys are having that same issue with cultural appropriation. What is sort of the big issues and the big topics that are capturing the news cycles?
Um, Things like homophobia, transphobia, brown face are quite big. Uh, and sometimes to me is okay when it comes to a body that is, let's say it's a production. Okay, let's say if it's a production and it gone through so many people, right? You've gone through the scriptwriter, you've gone through the costume department, you've gone through producers, so on and so forth, and it being approved multiple times, being vetted multiple times, and then it landing on a TV, on a banner, or wherever it is, then maybe there is a need for an outcry because it has went through multiple eyes and multiple people of varying statuses have all given it a thumbs up and say, okay, here is someone who is Chinese, who is the majority in my country, putting on brown face and playing stereotypes of the minorities. That's okay. And then to me, okay, then that you should say something because this is a corporation who is letting that happen. However, if it's like an individual with their own individual beliefs and misconceptions doing something that's regrettable, and you don't open up to that conversation, then that is where the issue stands for me.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, and I agree with you. Extremely agree with you that when there's an issue, when there's someone talking shit in the wrong way, it needs to be addressed. Even if it is a corporation who might have let something through or whatever it is. Yes, these things need to be addressed. That's what that's what a democracy is, I suppose, is that people have a voice, and if they don't like something, then they say something, and then if enough people agree with that, then they change it. And so I agree. I definitely agree with you on the fact that things do need to be changed. I'm not saying that we shouldn't be bringing things up. I think we agree with each other, and we're saying the same thing. That the issue lies in silencing people for making mistakes, or if someone says something silly or does something stupid because they got mad and they did. People we're human. We're human. We're bound to make mistakes, and we're bound to say something stupid. I do it all. I have over 250 episodes. How many of those episodes have I said something just absolutely fucking stupid that when I listen back to it, I bury my hand in I'm just, oh my God, like it's disgusting. And it's not like I'm sitting here just like saying the N-word or anything. I'm just saying that, I'm just saying, I do say things that can be conceived as rude or whatever. And I hear it, and it makes me feel gross when I hear it back, and that's how I learn, and that's how I progress and get better at what I'm doing.
Yeah. Because that recognition of the grossness and the recognition of what you have done wrong is
Exactly.
a sign of growth.
Exactly.
That's the whole point of being human, right?
Right.
I wish that the moment I'm born, I could be like, oh, I can differentiate, where my privilege is and all that. But all this is learned. All these are learned experiences, and all this you can only learn something if people correct you, and then you go, oh, okay, so that was wrong. I shouldn't have done that. I'll be a better person next time. But now conversations are being shut down one after the other, and that's a very, very worrying thing for me because now it has become a point where it can feel that there is lesser and lesser room to make that mistake and to acknowledge a mistake and to say, hey, acknowledge my mistake. I hope for that you will forgive me, and if you don't, I understand. But I would just, as a person, I would like to apologize and I want to be better. And I think what's more important than canceling people and getting them removed and all this. To me, it's really about putting your money in what you believe in. If you don't believe in this creator or this brand or this corporation, don't buy their stuff. Don't share their stuff. Don't wear their merch. Because if they don't have a customer, then they either realize, oh, why are we losing customer? And they do something about it, or they continue their ways and eventually they will fizzle out.
Yeah. When I was talking about you, I was telling people on the show as we're leading up to this moment, I was just saying, like I think he's kind of an activist because of what your involvement in noise music, as a noise musician. And when I started looking into it, it was like "noise is protest." I think is one of the taglines, and so I'm just very. And so when I looked into it, I was like, oh, this is like kill Nazis and like his anti-Nazi stuff, and it is like so I'm just curious, could you talk on that? What is noise is protest? What is that movement about, and what that you're involved with? And I don't know how far you go with it in the idea of protest, but I'd love to hear about it.
I would say I'm relatively new to the scene. So I don't want to be like, oh, I represent and I know everything, because I don't. I'm still incredibly new. I started doing this because I have always been very interested in Eurorex, but I don't have the space and I don't have the money for it. I really don't have the fucking money for it.
Who the fuck has the money for it? Except for those damn Europeans. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Heimbach. Heimbach, sponsor me, please. I love you, Heimbach. I love your stuff, but oh my God. Oh, anyway, as I was saying, so I was looking online on ways that I could still produce sounds that in a way is modular, that requires a lot less money. And I figure out about using the mixer. So if initially my sound was incredibly primal and it was just nothing but sine waves and triangle wave and saw wave and just cutting through each other. And I started building on more and more. So yeah, about noise is protest. I think for me, one thing is the culture of being an Asian. Since we are a kid, it is very common that if we see an argument by two adults and we try to cut in, we're like, hey, no, hey, uncle, auntie, don't argue. It's fine. Let's talk. They're like, no, you're young. You don't know better. Shut up. Keep quiet. Or when you see your parents fight, or you see your big brother or whatever, someone who is elder to you, there's always this belief, which I think is absolute bullshit, where if they have been on this earth longer than you, they know better, and you should not try to communicate with them as equals, that you should bow down and shit. And I don't believe in that. So to me, noise is as un-Asian as it gets. It's as un-Asian as it gets. When we do noise shows, there are people that bring there's this one guy who brought in a motorcycle and he used the engine as the sound source. Or there were people that bring in their own homemade this spring fucking, it's like a fucking bayonet, and you just step the floor with it and the spring recoils and that's the sound source. There are people that use hacksaws. There are people that use like this and just fucking crazy stuff, and that is protest. The thought that these people are being so un-Asian. These people are voicing out. These people are going, okay, we're going to be so loud. If you don't want to hear us, too fucking bad, you're going to hear us. Because when we are playing in any fucking place, like when I played in Surakarta, played in Yogyakarta in Indonesia, we play on the streets. We get a portable amp, we play on the streets. You didn't ask us to be here, but you are going to hear it.
I love that. It's so punk rock, man. That's fucking awesome. So it's sort of a protest against that solemn, quiet, what Asian is perceived, what the idea of what an Asian person is perceived, this, quiet and respectful, and I mean, I don't want to list any more things, just so I don't make myself look like a fucking
No, it's
an
fine.
asshole bigot, but so it's an actual protest against Asian culture itself.
That's one of my take.
Mm-hmm.
I also think is one very important thing is noise, and this goes around the world. It's a protest that to create art, you have to be trained.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, if you want to be a painter, you have to go through art school. But if you fail art school, then you're not talented enough to be drawing.
Whoa.
Or if you want to make music, you got to go through ABRSM and all that bullshit.
Oh
No, you don't. You fucking don't.
no.
Because if you want to make noise, if you really want to make noise, just take your pots and pans and hit the wall with it. That is noise. And then it's just about how you're going to build that noise and what does that noise do to your psyche and what you would like to bring to the people that are listening or walking by and listening to it. To me, that is the protest as well. The protest of elitism in the creation of art. You don't have to be. Some artists that I love so much, noise artists, they are people like farmers. They are people who live in villages. They don't really use much internet, if at all. They create works that it could be mistaken as some electronic musician masters in some university and stuff. But they have done zero training. They don't know shit about chords. They don't know shit about music theory. But what they got is that they DIY. They do what they can and they go, "Yep, that's my protest. I don't know shit, but I make it. So what can you tell me?"
Yeah, I'm here, bitch, and recognize me. I'm here. I'm fucking. This is me. I'm here. Yeah, man. I, I, that the idea of if you don't finish school in the art form that you're studying, then you are not an artist. If you don't get through that schooling, that's such an interesting idea. Like, because here I failed out of music school. I was like, fuck that. This is stupid. I'm done. And I'm a musician. You know what I mean? Like, so it's literally just you just wake up one day and be like, hey, I'm a musician. I'm a musician. So, and you just get to name yourself a musician. Whereas it seems like there's more of a currency to school and finishing it, and that is what gives you the title of a professional artist. What is that? I mean, what that idea, is that the prevailing idea for, I mean, as long as you can remember, is that just now starting to change, or is that something that's not really being changed at all? I guess that's a weird way of asking a question. So is this the prevailing? This has been the prevailing idea for years and years, correct? The fact that you have to finish school to become that, finish school to become an artist. You have to finish art school to be an artist.
Not really. Not really for art. Not especially not really for acting. I think with acting, it's more on what platform you perform in. Perform on national TV, you perform on the playground, do you perform on a small black box theater, do you perform in one of the biggest musicals in this country? Where do you perform in? To me, that is a more common way of judging your artistry.
Yes. Right, as it should be. Like, what's your experience? What have you done before? You're right. It's not, did you graduate from college? Because to me, music graduates from college, some of them are the most stalest musicians I've ever met in my life. They don't know how to improvise. They fucking, like, as soon as they don't have a job, they're just worthless. They don't do anything other than practice scale. Like, to me, some of that just seems just dry and boring. Yeah, I mean, like, you don't, here as well, like, you don't have to finish school to be an actor, like, for me, it's all about your experience and what you've done with it. It's not your education, because to me, your education don't mean shit if you can't get down with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't mean nothing if I can't jam with you. So, and that could be the other way around too, where I'm just not educated enough to jam with them. But still, where were we at this? What the fuck was my point here? Well, you were saying that experience is what counts as what makes an actor, and what you've done with your talent is what makes you an actor, not schooling. And I guess I was going off of that. So it's not necessarily that you have to finish school to be considered an artist, but it's just that there's more of a currency on it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this goes with any kind of, that if you were to go to an art school, you already have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get out, you'd be like, oh, if you're cool with somebody, then perhaps you can form a band. Perhaps they can bring you to meet some amazing pianists, or bring you to this closed door casting and stuff like that. So there is still that merit of being in an art school. But when it comes to over here, especially when it comes to acting, I feel like a lot of people who are kind of regular people, they look at whether you're on national TV. That's kind of a go to them, like their go to you. I was on a taxi one day, and I was on my way to this really unknown area for a rehearsal. And this man was like, oh, so why are you going to such a weird place? I'm like, oh, I'm going for a rehearsal. They're like, rehearsal? Oh, are you an actor? I'm like, yeah, I am. He's like, oh, is it for the national TV? I'm like, no, it's not. He's like, oh, then what is it for? I'm like, oh, I'm doing this for theater. I'm doing this for, I think it was a children's show. And then he's like, boy, how old are you? I'm like, 20. I can't remember. I think it was about 2021. He's like, 2021. Your parents have brought you up, birthed you into this world, fed you, clothed you, let you stay in their house for over 20 years, and you decide to be a theater actor? Why don't you make it big? Why don't you be successful and be an actor on national TV? I was like, bro, do you know who is paying for this cab fare? You know what I paid with? I paid with this shit theater performances. That's where I get the money from. So if you really think that my work is like that trivial and it's not that worth it, please let me take this ride for free. If not, shut the fuck up, drive me to my place, and I'll never have to speak to you again.
I like it. I like it that he was just like, just become a national famous actor. Just do that. Just be famous and rich. Just go do that. Why aren't you doing that?
And the concept of fame is so weird, right? Like, I'm not opposed to fame, don't get me wrong. I'm okay with fame, but it's not something that I strive for.
Yeah.
When it comes to fame, it's, if I can get it, it's great, because it means I can get better. I won't say better, I'll get bigger productions, and I'll get better pay. Better pay is probably accurate though. But I don't wake up every day and go, oh boy, I hope that I get lead actor on this 9 o'clock show. Oh my gosh, that's my dream. That's my goal. I don't care about what I want to say as an artist. All I want to do is be famous. It's fuck that. You don't have to be an actor to be famous anymore. Just take a lot of aesthetic photos on Instagram and you're on your way.
Yeah, just prop your butt on the side of a table and take a selfie.
Or the basin.
Yeah, get those duck lips going. And I tried the duck lips. It didn't work for me.
Oh no.
I tried wearing a bathing suits and taking pictures, but I just couldn't get those sponsorships, man. It was just, I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to ask you something, because what I was really curious about is when I was looking at your reels, and when I started seeing another person from Singapore on Twitch, a young girl who sings and plays ukulele, and I couldn't help but notice the differences in accents, and that I was really confused when I heard her. And I hope this is not offensive, because I
No,
don't know.
no, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
I'm just really curious on like
Yeah.
why she almost sounds European, and then some people sound Asian. I know that I'm sure this is making someone mad somewhere that I'm asking this, but it's just very curious to me. Is
It's a
that
fair question. It's a fair question.
I mean, maybe. I mean, if you asked me about accents here, I wouldn't care. But that's me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care. But some people will be like, "Well, why would you even ask that?" But I feel like it's a valid question. But please, if you have if you have any thoughts on it, I'd love to hear them.
Right. By the way, chat, I'm looking at what's going on. Feel free to write what you want to say because I will reply to them.
Oh yeah,
Right?
he can
So
type
go
and
ahead,
talk at the same time. I'm sure.
I can type too,
I
and I
can't.
can reply to you by speaking over.
I mean, I can't.
So yeah, back to the point. Back to the point. I grew up in a Mandarin only speaking family.
Ah,
Totally. I didn't know any ABCs till probably I was 5. I'm guessing, in kindergarten, and that of course will affect my accent, right? Because that's if you grew up speaking Mandarin until your early childhood, you probably have a much different accent from someone who grew up in English speaking family despite being Chinese.
gotcha.
And also there are things like we still worship in certain ways the white voice, right? The the twang and the way you guys replace your e's with these. God, why? Just stop it. Be British. Anyway, see, I said British. I'm so American now. No, but as I was saying, so when it comes to people that might want to, or their parents rather, sometimes making them look like they're of a certain class, they might get them someone who already naturally speaks the accent. Let's say someone like an American who's living in Singapore as an English tutor, or they just let them watch a lot of American shows and all that kind of stuff. And of course, there's things like being educated in international schools, or going to places like Australia and London and whatnot to go through their college education as well. So, in a way, the difference in accent, it can be rooted down to things like the popular media being almost always American. So you grew up watching nothing but CSI, Lost, all these big shows where everyone speaks in that accent. You don't hear your own accent. And to be clear, my accent is after 3 years of drama school. I can't say three when I first went to drama school because I'm Chinese, right? I can't. I
Yeah.
fucking can't, right? But I had to do this accent, which is, for me, at least for now, is as close to what I would call a neutral Singaporean accent, where a white man who has never been to Singapore can understand me,
Right.
but they can tell, okay, this guy is not from New York.
Right.
Right? That's my goal. That's my goal when it comes to being me. I still want to keep what makes me Chinese and Singaporean, but I also want to be clear. I want to sound like something that everyone can understand. That's what's key for me. But I don't find that there's a need for me to appease to the white folks or to the people that enjoy watching all these white folks acting on TV or on theater by putting on the accent, unless the character calls for it. But if I were to meet you on the streets or meet a director, I'm not going to be rolling my R's and switching my vowels just so that you will be, I don't know where this guy lives, but it's definitely not from here. I don't find the need for that.
Yeah. No, and I respect the shit out of that, man, because it's like fucking why change for whitey? It's like fuck that. Let me see that. So it almost sounds like, is there sort of I don't want to say caste system, but is there do people put a value on lighter skin tones there, like in different other countries? Like, for instance, in Mexico, I'm half Mexican, so I can speak on this. So stupid. But in Mexico, there is like white ass fucking, Germanic, Anglo blue-eyed blonde-haired people down in Mexico, and then there's like super dark Latino, like has might have a little bit of native in them. So I'm just in Mexico there is sort of this caste system where it's like the lighter you are, the more you're, people look. You know how racism works, man.
Yeah.
But there is a caste system here, so I'm just curious: is there a caste system in Singapore, kind of like that, or is it more like, or is it more go on like class? Is it more of a class thing? Because I mean, in a predominantly Asian place, what I've read is that racism, I don't know if it can exist, but that since there's not a whole bunch of different races, they're not really worried or concerned about that. Now that's just my American, like, pulling that out of my ass thing I just said. So, is there a caste system first of all, or is it more of a class system?
Okay, so first of all, in Singapore, there are quite a number of different races. Of course, majority being Chinese. Then there are Malays, Indians, Eurasians,
Gotcha.
white people, and even I think even for about, if I'm not wrong, I'll be corrected probably. I think about over 2 centuries or something, we have had black immigrants and people living in Singapore, but it's kind of like an little to no documentation of them, kind of being wiped out of history.
Oh wow.
But recent people who are digging through history have brought them back into the limelight. Thank goodness, because they were one of the building blocks of the modern Singapore, right? So going back, I think it's a mix of both. So of course there are unspoken people were to show their racism if you're not Chinese or if you're not light skinned. For example, it is quite common for job applications to ask for people who are able to speak Mandarin. Of course, it doesn't mean that you have to be Chinese to speak Mandarin, but it's a lot less likely that if you are not Chinese, you'll be fluent in the language. In fact, over here, not even many Chinese are fluent in their fucking language.
Oh, wow.
Right? That's why I get casted in Chinese shows, because I'm one of the last few young Chinese people that can speak proper Mandarin. Anyway, so with such a problem, of course, I would say only, but almost always it'll be Chinese people getting those jobs. But most of the times when you get to those jobs, you realize that you don't have to speak Mandarin. It's their way of saying we don't want non-Chinese here, without saying we don't want non-Chinese. Or this is from real life experience of my friends who are non-Chinese, like Indians, when they try to get rental as an Indian person. Everything goes well. It was on WhatsApp. They're like, hey, I would like to rent this place for a year. How much is the rent? How much is the deposit? Can I bring a friend? Everything is set up right and proper. Like, okay, cool. Can I see the house next week? Yeah, sure. Oh, by the way, I just see that your WhatsApp name, it doesn't look Chinese. May I know what's your race? Like, I'm Indian. Oh, in that case, the person renting the place says he's not comfortable renting to someone like you.
Oh shit.
So it
Damn.
does happen. I can even send you like actual conversations that went viral on Facebook. So that shit happens, right? So this is kind of the caste system that you were mentioning about. Um, or the more class thing is, I need to say this, okay?
Sure.
Whoever's not talking about this, why isn't this being mentioned more on the news? Okay, so one thing that we have right now for COVID is that there is a kind of daily to every 2-3 days report of new cases, right? This is how they classify the cases, okay? Migrant workers, community, migrant workers, Singapore community. Migrant workers are the construction workers who are paid less than an army person in conscription to do intense manual labor, and they are getting infected up to, I think last time I checked, it was about 900 people a day, and Singapore has about 5 million people.
Whoa.
A day, 900. Community numbers is It's usually about 1 to 5 a day.
Whoa.
So locals and people who are not working and building your houses and shit, they are going out in the shopping malls, they're having a good time. They're just enjoying their life, of course, with a mask on, but they're enjoying their life. Meanwhile, thousands and thousands of mostly Indians, some are from China and some are from other countries. These people are stuck in this cramped up space with little hygiene and just disgusting, and they're not getting work. So they're not getting work. Are they getting paid? How much are they getting paid? They're already getting paid less than everyone in Singapore. Last time I checked, the minimum pay of a migrant worker, it's about 450 Singapore dollar per month.
Whoa.
450. And Singapore is the most expensive city in the world, along with Tokyo and Hong Kong. We are that fucking expensive, right? So they're 450. It's gotten so bad that there has been a migrant worker who slashed his throat. There's been a migrant worker that tried to jump down a building because they're stuck in their homes watching all of their friends and co-workers getting infected by hundreds every single fucking day. Wow. They know that their health is at risk. They know that their job is at risk. Their mental well-being is not being taken care of. So if you're asking me if there's racism, there is. There is also racism, and then there is xenophobia, and then there's also classism. Because if these folks, they are not from another country, they are not brown, or they are, not all of them, but most of them, would they be getting treated that way? Would they be not considered part of the community when they literally built this? Probably where I'm living right now is built by one of them. Let's be fucking honest here.
Yeah.
But they are now placed as another. How it feels? How does it feel that when you open up the papers and you read and you look at the news, and this country that you have set foot in and you're getting paid little to no shit, and they go, migrant workers, oh, and here's the community number, everything is going fine, go enjoy your shopping malls. At the meantime, you guys will be stuck here for the next few fucking months. And they still have to transfer money back to their country. And they came into this country with the promise that they are going to make it big, they're going to earn the money so that they can help take care of their children with the education and all the stuff. And now they come in and realize that they are getting $450 a month. Many Singaporeans are getting $2,000, $3,000 a month easily. I'm not, but I'm a different case. But that's the world that they live in, and like their food before COVID was so terrible that it took a local take photographs of the food, which is like here's a paper sheet of it, and it's like a mountain of rice, a tiny ass fish, and tiny bit of curry, and they're going to be working under the hot sun for hours on end. And then okay, here's what I want to say about the whole racism thing. Okay, so there are people who are attempting suicide, and they're all migrant workers, right? If you look at the comments on the internet, people are going, oh, the government is letting them stay in a new place. They're getting them better food. All this. What do they expect next? Do they want us to give them a resort? Do you want us to treat them like royalties? We already give them the opportunity to come here to make a living. They should be thankful. Fuck you. Yeah. Fuck you. You try to earn your current wage, not 450, and live the exact life. Fearing for your life, fearing that you might get your work pass taken away, and you tell me whether you should be feeling grateful. Fuck yourself. This is fucking human rights. It's not about whether they are from another country. It's not about what kind of fucking color they are. It's about you are not treating them the same because you are a piece of shit.
Yeah, no, yeah, we get a lot of that here too. Do you guys, do you get a lot of like blaming immigration for national problems there, like we do? Like we like to blame the Mexicans for a bad economy. It's the Mexicans' fault. I mean, is it like the Indians' fault that you guys, if you guys have a bad quarter in the business world?
Oh my god, But before I go there, I just gotta say this.
Please.
One of my favorite comedians of all time is Ralphie May. I fucking love him.
He's awesome.
And he said this. He said this. Rest in peace. I love him so much.
Yeah.
He said, you guys are being so fucking racist to Mexicans. And remember, California, back when California was called Mexico. Right? So this is what I mean. Anyway, back to what was the question again?
I was asking if
Right, got it. We have blamed the Chinese from China. We have blamed a lot of people. Here's what I heard, really fucking stupid. Okay, again, it's in a taxi. I don't know why taxi drivers have the dumbest ideas, and taxi drivers have. Oh my god, I hate them so much, but they give my life so much meaning. Here we go. So we said, he's like, hey, so the economy is very bad. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Then he said, Uncle has a theory. What theory? What? I actually don't want to hear. I don't want to hear, but I figure out. Fuck it. And he said, you know what they say about Muslim food, about Muslim meat. Like, yeah. What about it? So what is this? What's this bullshit about? Meat is meat. Why do we need to pray to the meat and then we kill the meat? I think it's just a way for them to only hire Muslims because we Chinese people don't know how to pray the Muslim prayer. I'm like, bro, how much do you think butchers earn? How much do you think fucking butchers earn? Yeah, are you willing to drop all work? Are you expecting like CEOs to leave their job to be butchers? Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, man. It's interesting what people will just find in other people that aren't like them just because of their own shortcomings. Honestly, I feel like a lot of it has to do with their own shortcomings, and that's a whole nother conversation. But so yeah, I like that your taxi cabs, you hate them, but they give you meaning. I feel that like Uber and stuff, taxis here, it's like I'll go and fly in, and I'll be flying in with like equipment, like if I have to go play a tour or something, and then I have to load my shit in there, and of course the conversation is like, oh, you're a musician, and then it just slowly, and then all of a sudden, by the time you get to your location, you find out that this guy is not only racist, but he also has some interesting thoughts about the gays, and and you're just like, okay, bro, a lot of times, because you can't really lie when you're loading a huge keyboard into the back, so you can't just be like, oh, I'm nothing, I'm nobody, and I'm not anybody anyways. I'm not trying to say I'm somebody in America. All I'm saying is that you get questions, and sometimes after you get off a flight, you don't want to talk to some asshole that fucking is driving you around. It's not that I'm an asshole that don't like to talk to people, but my God, sometimes when you're talking to some people who are, clearly dull-eyed and just kind of dumb, it's like you don't really want to invest your energy into that, because it's like, shit, man, I got other things I got to deal with besides listen to your dumbass ramble on about the Mexicans or the Muslims. Dude, the Muslim thing is interesting, because in China right now they're rounding up Muslims and putting them on trains. Like, what happened? Why do Asians not like Muslims now? Not that you're like the spokesperson for all the Asians in Asia, but I mean, I assume that you might have a better understanding than my American dumbass over here, who just gets his news secondhand from some cracker on YouTube. So I'm just curious. I mean, what's the deal with that?
What's the deal? I don't know. I'm not Seinfeld. I have no idea.
That's another thing. You're so hip to American culture.
Because our TV is filled with it. We don't know much about our own culture. In fact, one thing about our culture is that our culture is constantly changing, because our culture is money.
Mm-hmm.
It's our culture. We have a wonderful place. Let's say we have a beautiful, wonderful swimming pool. Don't expect it to last too long unless it makes money. We have a wonderful, beautiful museum, but museums don't make money. So unless it's being funded somehow, it's not going to stay. So our cultures are constantly changing to whatever is profitable.
Wow.
So American culture is profitable because it sells.
Yeah.
So that's in a way, that's my culture. My culture is your culture, just secondhand, right?
I could see that. I mean, like we have definitely invaded the world with whatever the fuck this is, but but that was what was so interesting to find out that when we did, like when you're in these chats, you don't know who you're talking to. You just see a name. You just see, whispering glitter, whatever it is, and you don't know who that person is. And so once you start finding out about these people behind their names, I was like, this motherfucker's from Singapore. He's like referencing like hip hop, like American hip hop, and American like this and that. And so it's just really interesting to me that you were so inundated with this, and I don't know. So American culture is very prevalent in Singapore.
It is. And I know, back to the whole thing about Islamophobia.
Mm-hmm.
I think with any kind of phobia, really, any kind of phobia, be it Islamophobia, transphobia, like homophobia, all the kind of phobias, you are only scared of something you don't understand.
Yeah.
And it's nothing to do with whether you're from Singapore or whatever. The fear is always coming out. That's why people are afraid of the dark. It's not the actual darkness, it's what lies when you're in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
So in the same way, when people are saying like, I don't like the gays and all that, it's because they are not allowing themselves to be around the gay community and to understand that, oh, they are just like me, except that they like a different genitalia than me.
Yeah.
Who give a fuck?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing about phobia. So I don't think I can give any input that is specifically Singaporean.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the only way to get rid of people being scared of people who are different is to get people to see other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way, really.
Yeah.
Because if you were to go into like a mosque and see what they do, or you pick up their books, or you meet someone who is a Muslim and you ask about their faith, you know what they are about. I will find it really hard to believe that you would still have the same level of hatred as the person. I don't expect you to immediately go, oh, because I had a 10-minute chat with this Muslim, I no longer have any kind of misunderstanding about you. No, of course not. But since you already approached the person, it means that you are willing to go for that conversation, that you are bound to at least be willing to listen. And I think that's the key. We don't listen anymore. And people who are hateful are people who are not willing to hear.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man. You're saying that that a sort of American culture is sort of erasing Singapore's past, or at least whatever the culture is there now. I'm not going to just say American culture in Singapore is destroying Singapore, but what I'm saying is, you're saying that you guys are sort of absorbing all these other cultures and forgetting about your own. What is it that you feel that's important to be remembered about Singapore? And I'm not trying to minimalize anything, minimize the history at all. I'm just curious, like, what is it about the history that you think is important to maintain?
Main thing is that stop glorifying that we were colonized. We have to stop glorifying it. We have to stop putting statues of our colonial masters and saying that they founded Singapore, just like Christopher Columbus didn't found America.
Right.
They didn't find shit. it's like if there's a penny on the floor, you say, I found it, so I made that coin. Fuck you. You didn't do shit. Yeah. So we gotta stop that. I think that's the key. I did a show sometime back. I hated it. I when I got the chance to leave, I left. Where it's a history lesson of Singapore, where it's mostly for the tourists, right? Where the very first scene is you play as a village person in the year where they were going to sign the contract for Singapore to be a trading port. And as the character, I go, oh, I'm so grateful. This Singapore is going to be a wonderful place now. Now that this white man is coming over and taking my place as a place to put their fucking boats, to put chili powders and salt and vinegar. Oh, let's go visit them. Let's go, tourists. And then they come and they watch the signing of the contract. And go, wow, this is a new start for Singapore. Fuck that. I think that's the most important thing, is that we have to recognize that yes, no, we are colonized, but we have to stop glorifying it. We have to acknowledge it as it is. It's a bunch of people that use us for business, and they left when the war came. That was all it was. They didn't build this country up. We want it. It was like it wasn't even in their thoughts that we would be a successful country. They just wanted us because we were in the prime area when the boats can go by us with minimum detours. That's all we are. We are the fastest route. That's really all we are.
Wow. That's deep, man. That's so when all that happened, I mean, how recent is this that in Singapore's history that you're colonized? Is this in the last century, or is this hundreds of years ago? Like, how long ago is all this?
I would like to say I want to Google that. So let me Google
Yeah, go
that.
ahead. Why not? I mean, you don't have to give me. Well, I'm not asking for exact dates or anything. I mean, that's I still don't know the exact date we were fucking founded. They say it's July 4th, but I don't think that's right either. But anyway.
So we were founded in 1819.
Okay.
And to this day, we are still celebrating it. The tourist areas still have all these performances. The statue is of the founder is still there. And last year it was a 200 years of colonization, and we did a bicentennial year-long celebration where everyone's like just hip hip hooray that we got our cultures taken and our land used for white man's purposes 200 years ago. We are celebrating it for like a whole year. There was so much funds being pumped into it.
Was it a violent affair? Not your celebration, but like the colonization. Was it violent and terrible like it was for America, or was it a smooth transition, or was it horrible and horrifying?
I won't know for sure.
Okay, no problem.
I won't know for sure.
No worries.
Because how much of what I'm taught is really true.
Ah, I see. So information is not always the whole story is not being told.
That's always the case, right? That's
Yeah,
always the
totally.
case. That's why, like, I believe was Columbus Day was created because there was I think it was the Italian Americans who were being prejudiced by Americans in general. So they found kind of like this figure that could represent someone who is of power in America, and they found Columbus. That's why till today you guys are celebrating Columbus Day.
Yeah.
So all this narrative are always being changed to help forward a narrative by a certain demographic, a certain group. But one thing that I'm sure is that it can't be a smooth transition. I can't imagine people that are enjoying their land, enjoying their place, enjoying their fucking freedom. And a bunch of whiteys come over and they go, oh fuck, this place is fantastic. We're gonna take over. Like, what? No. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. and they take over. I can't imagine that it can be that smooth. They're like, oh, you want to take my freedom and my land, and you're going to park a bunch of stinky ass boats over here and bring more white people over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, do it.
Cool.
I can't imagine that to be the case.
Yeah, me neither. I was just curious because like, I mean, here in America, we like to bring up the past all the time, which you can't. I am a big believer in you can't repeat history. You know, if you want to learn and get better, you got to learn from history. And so you can't erase history. You have to keep it preserved so we can keep that in our mind of how bad things can get. But but then we also like to hold on to stuff, and rightfully so. We you know, like your country, white people came and took it over and killed the indigenous people, gave them diseases, and then rewrote history and to make the narrative fit in a very nice little package that they could sell to the American people. And what I'm liking about what's happening now is that we're exploring this history and we're calling it out. But the problem is I feel like we're going a little too far. And what we're doing over here is that we're actually like knocking down these statues of, you know, back in the Civil War when people were fighting for slavery. I do think those statues need to be get rid of those statues. Like, why are we celebrating these assholes who was trying to divide the country to fight for slavery? Like, that's silly. But then they're trying to tear down, of prominent figures in our history that fought against slavery.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so it's very confusing in that matter. So it's just like, I feel like history needs to stay truthful, but I feel like what we've done now is that we're recognizing it, which is good. We should be recognizing the pitfalls and highlighting that so we know not to do them again. But what's happening is that we're going too far the other way now, and we're actually starting to try to erase history again in the name of justice. So, and social justice, which is very confusing to me because I don't know how that really works. How can you erase this history and then try to create this new one and then expect everyone to sort of just be on board with it? It seems to be going a little too far the other way. I mean, you were saying that there's, was there, no, actually not, you weren't saying, when BLM and that George Floyd incident, when the George Floyd incident happened here, and the world sort of started protesting along with us, was Singapore one of those countries that sort of hit the streets too?
We didn't hit the streets, but we did put a black square.
Oh yeah, right. For in support and stuff.
And it fuck up the movement, right? Because people put the wrong hashtag, and people who need crucial information, like, what the fuck is all this black square bullshit? You know?
Right. Well, I was just curious if there was a similar movement that started happening in your country, that sort of is addressing some of the same issues that we.
There were a lot of people speaking up about BLM. There were a lot of people speaking up for George Floyd, talking about where you can donate, who you can talk to.
Was there a movement that represented the issues in your country and not just America? Did it inspire other movements? Because I know, like, I'm pretty sure it inspired other movements within other countries where they were supporting the BLM, but also speaking out against maybe some of the injustices in their own. So I was just curious if that was sort of something that happened, or was it just sort of we're protesting in support of the American BLM movement?
I feel like the people who would also be talking about local issues have already been talking about those issues. And there are a lot of people who have support to BLM and brought in the links and fundraise even wonderful works. But when it comes to things like I say, like the migrant workers who are having so much issues in where they are right now, or racism and homophobia, my country is still a country where if two men were to have sex, technically you can go to jail.
Oh,
so holy fuck, right? And that's actually from a Victorian law.
Oh, Jesus.
And the thing is, people don't know. A lot of people, especially the older folks, are like, oh, we need to keep it. This is our Eastern values. Like, no, this is a white man's law. Back in the Victorian era, you don't know shit about law.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of people who were in support of BLM, but it are not doing enough to talk about what's really happening in their own land.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, I mean, that seems to be like a theme of this conversation has been, sort of taking on other cultures, other histories, and other ideas instead of sort of embracing the local environment. And I really do like that you make a concerted effort to maintain your roots, man. Like I respect that a lot. And I mean, how many, like you said, there's a lot of people out there just trying to leave that all behind, and forget about it. And it is important to maintain and hold on to the thing that makes you you. Um, where when the pandemic hit, what happened in your life as an artist? Like, did everything stop? I know you said that the people, the immigrants had to keep working, but in your field, you're an actor and musician and writer. I was like, did your workflow all just stop too, or were you able to still work? And how? I mean,
Okay, so first off,
please.
yeah,
Well,
go on,
I mean, I guess I should backtrack before that. As like, how far did Singapore go in the shutdown, and then how did that affect your work?
So, firstly, the immigrant workers are not allowed to work right now.
Oh
I
wow.
believe, if I'm not,
Oh,
they
they're just
shouldn't be allowed
not.
to work right now.
Um,
The thing is, right, what makes it scary is that they're now stuck in this like highly dense areas where many of them are yet to be tested, and so they are all basically in an infected zone. So that's where the issue is. And when it comes to COVID, I first got the news that it's gotten kind of serious when I was about to come back to Singapore from Malaysia after I did a performance in Malaysia, where all schools were not allowing any outside vendors. So, assembly shows and extracurricular activities, all the kind of stuff is no more. It kind of came back now but it's a lot in Zoom and whatnot. In person is still not as common. I think, and theaters are still closed in Singapore. There's not a single theater that's open right now.
wow.
So that of course affects me as a theater actor. And it having no assembly shows means I couldn't do the more regular theater shows as well. Filming was stopped for a number of months as well. A number of months. Thanks for the gifts up. Yeah. Anyway,
Well, thank you, Raina,
yeah,
for that gift
yeah.
sub. That is so nice. There you go, snooze.
So thank you. So filming has stopped for quite a while. It recently resumed, but with a lot of restrictions, kind of like Hollywood, but less strict, a lot less strict. Filming was stopped for a while. Theater is still stopped. At least live theater is stopped. You can't really stop writing, but you like face-to-face interviews that I do myself sometimes. That's only restarted recently as well. So we have had our lockdowns in phases, and we never call it lockdown because I guess they don't want us to panic, so they call it a circuit breaker.
Circuit breaker.
The fuck that means. So, so yeah, we were on circuit breaker for like a month and a half, 2 months, I can't remember, and then it became phase one, which is the same damn thing but in a different name. And we have phase two, which coincided with a nationwide election in like 2 weeks' time. I wonder, was that a coincidence? Anyway, so we're still on phase two. We're still on phase two. And when there's the vaccine and when it's safe to be out, and it will be phase three. And only when phase three is out, then will we have things like live theater and things like that. So for the foreseeable future, there wouldn't be much of an income source for me as a theater actor. I still get it with things like medical role play on Zoom for medical students in universities, maybe corporate role plays, that kind of things. Things that I can still do on Zoom. A lot of my pre-COVID income is zilch right now.
Wow. So, what did your government was there any assistance that was provided to people who were sort of forced in?
Oh,
Wow. So then, I mean, I'm not trying to dig too personal or dig too deep, but like, what sort of did you do when, you know, I mean, they're still collecting rent, I imagine, right? Their rent didn't stop. So, I mean, what did you do?
I cried. And after I had a good hard cry, I had a beer. After I had a beer, I cried into that beer bottle. And after that, I start thinking straight. So, so firstly, this is an amazing coincidence. I was actually approached by a company to be one of their talents for their upcoming filming. I said, okay, I'm going to meet them. And I met them just about 1 to 2 weeks before things started shutting down. So when they met me, they said, "Hey, we would like to work with you and all that, but as we know, the cases are rising. We have a feeling that filming won't be happening by the time we will start shooting. But how are you with writing?" I'm like, "Oh, I've written some stuff before. Written for like music publications and stuff like that. I've written." They're like, "Oh, can you show me?" So I show my boss, and he's like, "Oh, I like the way you write. How would you like writing for me while this virus thing is happening?" So right now, my main income comes from writing for this company.
That's tight.
Yeah. Then after that, immediately there was like an eight. I think it was something like a $500-600 for people that have gotten their work majorly decreased or completely lost their job or something. I got it. But a lot of people got it. And that's where the problem is. There are people going on forums saying, "Oh, I still got my job. I'm still earning my full income. But I just said that I lost my job and I got $500. And people started getting pissed off. So when the second grant were to come, it was $3,000 every 3 months for 9 months. So meaning $9,000, right? The criteria originally was so absurd that most creatives couldn't get it. The original credential were things like you have to make all your money through the arts, which, as you might know, it's almost impossible. Very, very unlikely. You probably have to do something really boring, like giving a fuck, like working the F&B and stuff like that, which most of us do, right? So a lot of us give feedback and say, "Hey, that's unrealistic. Here's why, here's why, here's why." And then they made it easier. They're like, "Okay, so you have to show that for the last 2-3 years that you have done work as a freelancer to qualify." Here's another weird one. For people to automatically qualify, you have to be 35 years old and above. Look at your face. That's my fucking face as well. I'm like, but I believe most freelancers are not 35 and above in Singapore.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Yeah.
Because most of the people who are 35 and above are in their offices. And we started questioning. We started like going, why is this the thing? Why is this the case? And we realized the people that will immediately get the money, most probably, I hate this, taxi drivers.
The freelance.
It's a fucking circle. It's a motherfucking circle, I swear to God. So yeah, the taxi drivers were the ones to get it first, followed by people who are 35 and above, but in the creatives, which are quite a minority. People like DOPs, producers, directors, the older generation usually. Less of the actors, because most of them are not that kind. Then a lot of us have to submit applications to get in. However, there is this, there are like taxes and stuff, and if you get under a certain amount, I can't remember what is it, like 2,000 something, but it's a good amount of money every month, then do you have to pay for taxes? So I don't earn enough, and a lot of us didn't earn enough, so we didn't pay taxes. But it turns out that even if you don't pay taxes, you have to tell them that you don't earn enough to not pay for taxes. So we didn't have that form done for the last few years. So we don't qualify for the application.
Oh my god. Well, that's horrible. So you were very lucky, is what you're saying, that you found a job that's kind of holding you together before. But there's so many people out there right now that didn't get lucky. And then,
Oh my gosh.
like,
Yeah.
what is that looking like right now? As you know, we go into what, the fifth or sixth month of this, and I mean, is there a lot of people sort of in despair over there? I mean, like, I know there's 30 million people here who are going hungry. 30 million people here who just are hungry right now and don't know how their next meal is going to get to them. So I don't know. Is that the same over there? I mean, I don't know what kind of chaos that starts.
So when the virus first started, I was involved in certain groups that gathered resources to help each other and people that we come into contact with without them having to apply over and over and over again to government funds, because as we know the process does take a while and it's not a guarantee. So there are monetary ways that we help, such as helping them pay their phone bills, their electrical bills, water bills, things that honestly are human rights. You should be able to turn on a tap and have clean drinking water. You should be able to turn on the lights, things like that. So we don't think we should deprive anybody of that. Uh, and beyond that, there are also people who give their services in non-monetary ways, like helping their children with free tuition, help them move things around, clean their place, whatever, if it's an old folk, right? So these are the little things that we try to help people in the community that for a reason or another just slip through the cracks. And oddly, being the people that are in most dire needs of immediate help don't get it, because for some of them they don't even know how to send the application, right? And then now they have to send through this and show this text paper and show this and show that. They can't do shit about that. So they can't. So rather than making them wait and reapply and apply and talking and calling, if we are able to chip in the few $100 so they don't get the lights turned off, we'll do that. You know, if they can pay us back, cool. But if they can't, we don't expect them to. We didn't pay them like a bank expecting for kind of like investment of sorts, because that's not what this is about. This is a global issue right now. It's a global pandemic. And if you're thinking about like what we can gain from this, then I think we have lost our humanity, right?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, just I feel like we're at risk of losing our humanity just by the disparity that this is creating between those who are capitalizing on this and those who are just trying to get through it, and that's a whole other problem of its own.
Isn't there
Amazon.
like a guy? I think it's from America, right? Where he managed to get so many grants. He got a Lamborghini.
I don't know, but
Fucker.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I hope that's true.
Why do you? Oh no! Fuck that! That's terrible.
I'm just
Holy
joking.
shit.
No, but what did end up happening is a lot of money that was supposed to be allocated for small businesses ended up going to these huge corporations that put small businesses out of business. And so what ended up happening is we see a lot of prominent politicians' friends, a lot of elite people's friends, companies getting all this money, whereas my friend who is an inventor who got his products into Walmart and you know, into these impossible marketplaces to get into, but he thought of an idea, he created it, he brought it to fruition, he has it, he sold it, and he worked his ass off for it, and he couldn't even get a fucking loan. No, wait. He had to beg for 7 G's. He was asking for 40,000. They gave him 7,000, and he was lucky because his father was well connected. Now,
Wow.
that was the only reason why he got stuff. Everyone else, fuck you. Like this. So what ended up happening is that we had all this federal money that was supposed to go to help preserve local economies ended up going to a bunch of other rich people to make them more rich. And I don't even have to bring up Amazon's ass. They're like doing just fine through this pandemic. Amazon is killing it. And yeah,
So Bezos is on its way to be a trillionaire. Holy fuck.
yeah, man. Yeah, he's the richest man on earth and in history. Like it,
Can we even imagine what a trillion looks like? I can't.
no, I mean,
It's a crazy idea. It's a crazy thought that this guy can throw money at me and I'll drown in it.
I'd be crushed under the weight of the money he'd throw at me.
Right?
No, but it is like it does call into question though, like where the disparity that's growing in this, what is that going to make? You know, like people are capitalizing on this pandemic in the best and worst ways, and I mean, what is that going to look like if we can't sort of bring those back into balance, which it's not in balance now, you know, it's just further the disparity between, you know, wealth and poor, and the middle is sort of getting eliminated over here in our country. I don't know, like, is that a similar thing that's sort of happening in your country? I mean, is there, I guess I just don't know too much about Singapore and how it works. Do you see sort of a disparity in class in between wealth and the poor over there, or is the middle class still holding on pretty well over there?
I think there's always been a disparity.
Right, right.
We do have some of the highest paid ministers in the world. So we are speaking something along the lines of 100 a month, which in US dollar is something like $80,000 a month.
Whoa.
So, and that's a minister. And when it comes to a prime minister, you know, they could go well to, $1 million, right? That kind of thing. It's just absolutely mad that this is kind of money that they earn as civil servants when, you know, I genuinely have a belief that if your job is to serve the people, you shouldn't earn anything more than the average person that you're serving for. That's my take. And I don't think Singapore is capitalizing on the pandemic as much as probably America is. We do, okay, the group that really do capitalize it are the food delivery apps, you know, your Food Pandas and all that shit.
Right.
Good luck getting it sponsored right now, man. You ain't gonna get sponsored on Food Panda now. Yeah, but all these big ass apps like Food Panda and whatnot, they are making so much fucking money. And I have a friend who, I have a mutual friend who had to stop doing the arts and become like a deliverer because, you know, they didn't work. And he wrote this whole article about how much they get, how much the restaurants and cafes and stores get, and then how much he gets. You know, the people that get the most are almost always the apps, and then a little less is the people that makes the food, that sells the food, and then the people that delivers the food. But they can do that because they know most of the people who are doing the deliveries right now have just got their ass fired. Immediate job that they can get, since most companies are laying off more and more people. So these fucking major corporations are just leeching on like people's downfall, really.
Well, I mean, in that case, though, I mean, don't you think that in the case of like a food delivery service, even though they are connected to this huge corporation and maybe they're not paying their people, but don't you think that that was one of those services that, like, and even with Amazon, I mean, God bless it, as much shit as I talk about Amazon and Bezos on the, I'm very thankful that it existed because I was able to, you know, put together our streaming equipment, or we're able to get certain goods and services without having to go risk going out into the COVID. So I mean, like there is benefits from it, but I mean, I don't know what, because the economic fallout of this, at least in America, I feel like is going to be way bigger than than we think, and those companies are going to be just fine, and they might lose some income because you need customers to buy your stuff. And if your customers don't have any money and they're poor and they're starving, they're probably not going to buy your stuff, so everyone's going to feel it, but they'll probably be okay. I guess I'm not. I was just curious on how it's affecting you guys economically, how this pandemic is doing to your country economically, and how people are sort of capitalizing on it, and especially with Amazon. Like I said, I respect that they were able to give me this shit that I need to do this. But then on the other hand, they are also avoiding they get these huge corporate tax breaks that they send their lobbyists into Washington to sort of to sell to these politicians to make policy based on that. So they put up this big front like they're all about about Black Lives Matter and all this shit, but meanwhile they're not really putting back into the system that's paying them by these huge corporate tax cuts that they're afforded. I'm just curious on if that is something that is going to be affecting Singapore in that fashion, where like you have these companies that are just getting so bloated that it sort of wipes out local economies, and which creates a larger disparity between rich and poor. I'm just curious if that kind of thing is happening in Singapore. I know that was a lot, so we could back up if you need me to back up.
Okay. So we need to recognize that just because we are consumers and we are a part of the capitalistic nature of our countries and of our system, doesn't mean we don't have the right to criticize said system. No, you use Amazon and you have the right to say, no, of course I have to buy things and all that, but they're still a piece of shit.
Yeah, they treat their workers terrible and all that. Yeah.
Again, the whole thing about black and white, it doesn't mean that if you buy it, you're in complete belief of what they practices and how they treat their employers and stuff. So when it comes to over here, before phase one, phase two, there were a lot of different industries that were shut down or at least majorly limited. No, of course, the arts like theater and all that, we are still not open. What else? I'm not sure when did it open. I believe it's open. Yeah, it should be open now. But things like psychotherapy, counseling was originally considered non-essential. I'm like, what?
Oh wow.
And everyone is stuck at home and like going mental with all the news. You're telling us that therapy is not essential.
Yeah.
And when phase one, I think it was phase one, when things started to reopen slightly, one of the first things that were allowed are salons, haircuts. I'm sure you know a lot about that because you guys got people holding signs, petitioning to get their banks cut.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah, we do. We do.
So there are all this, the whole talk about essential and non-essential. It's so confusing. It's who is this essential to?
Right.
Because I believe if the people who are making the decision suffers from a mental condition, or they have children, relatives who have bipolar and all that stuff, they wouldn't think that therapy isn't essential. They'll be like, holy shit, this is the time that we have to make sure everyone gets their mental well-being checked. But the fact that they didn't consider something as quintessential to me as taking care of the people's mental health, it shows how above and just not understanding like how this is affecting people who are getting laid off, who might get laid off, who have to take up two jobs, or who are doing more work for the same pay, because if they stop working, they will get laid off. Because they are earning 6-7 digits a year. Why would they understand us?
Yeah. They're just.
So
Please.
As I was going to say quickly, so it always comes down to all these corporations, whether they get to benefit, is all the people making the decisions, whether they benefit from it and whether they see the benefit. And if they're so away from the common people, they will never understand. And to them, it's all about the dollar signs. Because someone who is going through like counseling, that is not like as lucrative a business as the oil industry, for example.
Right.
Why would they give two fucks about someone who is telling someone to take care and not hurt themselves in a safe space? They don't care. It doesn't earn money.
Right. You mentioned something that you showed a little suspicion on the fact that this is all happening on an election year. Do you have any sort of conspiratorial ideas on that? I mean, because let me tell you, I got a whopper for conspiracy for you. We can get to that, but I'm just curious because you alluded to something as in that you kind of feel like there's more to the story than they're letting on.
For legal reasons, I would say I don't think that the election being held within within 1 month or even 2 weeks after the country was opened up was a coincidence, but it could be. For legal reasons, I don't know.
I got you. No problem. I got you. No, because there's so this is a wild idea. Okay, so you know how there's
Yes, crazy.
Go ahead. Wait, did you just did you want to ask me a question? Is that what you said?
No.
Okay, so I'm talking to my oversight. All PR. None of these orders will ever happen. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know oversight mod. Yeah, well, there's a big belief here that after the election cycle happens in America, that COVID-19 is no longer going to exist in America. Now, I don't know about that, but I know that this is a real thing. There are people dying. My aunt almost lost her life. You know, like she was on the verge of dying. She was on the breathing machine, and and they say that once they're on the breathing machine, that's the end. So she fought through that, and so I know it's real, and I know it's devastating. Fired all the postmasters to suppress the vote. Well, that's another interesting thing is that, in regards to on how contagious and how serious this is, I was talking to a post service and no one in my city, none of the post office people, and they worked through all of it, all the postal service workers, nobody got one case. So just throwing that out there, not trying to say it's not real, but I don't know. There seems to be some aspects to it that seem to be overblown, and it's amplified by by politics. Is that something that might be happening over there? I don't want to put you I don't want to pin you down to anything. So, oh yeah, Wallace, your cousin died. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. My friend lost his mom and dad to COVID. Yeah. I mean, so it's real, but then you have all these people who are, protesting because they need to get their bangs cut. And you got people who are saying they're not going to wear a mask because it's taken away their rights. And then, and as soon as the election's over, it's not going to matter anyways. I mean, there just seems to be a lot of uncertainty on the severity of it. And so I'm just curious, is that sort of a question that's being asked in your country? Because for us, we shut down everything and everybody's on unemployment, and our economy is shit, even though our GOP or whatever is doing great. We got all these people on unemployment. 40% of small businesses aren't coming back. 30 million people are literally starving. But their GOP is doing great. I'm just wondering, and it's all because we're forced into this lockdown. So I'm just wondering, is that sort of the same feeling over there? This questioning of the severity of our reaction to this pandemic. I mean, because people
That's
don't
tough to answer.
people don't think it's
Yeah.
real. Like what I'm saying is, people think it's bullshit, and it's just to sort of throw a wrench into things, and just sort of they think it's more of a power move than it is a real issue.
Okay, so what oversight say? The president turning the mask into a political statement. What the fuck is this? Holy fuck. Okay, here's the thing. Okay, if you think that a piece of cloth is gonna take away your rights and it's gonna be a censorship, have you been on the internet? Do you understand how Google works?
Thank you for that
You
sub,
understand that
Raina.
you understand that your life have been living under major like filtering, that the news that you get, algorithms, if you watch a certain news network, chances are on YouTube you'll be being fed by people of that same belief. If you watch something from the left, the algorithm will make you watch things more from the left, or if you're more in the center, you watch something more from the center, more from the right, more from the right. That's why people who watch conspiracy theories will constantly be watching conspiracy theories, because the thing is that these websites want you to stay and want you to be there as long as possible.
Yes.
So here's the thing. Oh my gosh. Uh, I think that this virus right now, it's there is so much that we don't know and we don't understand. Uh, and the longer that we question and we try to go back to normalcy, we won't get it back. The one good reason why we constantly are are delaying, getting back and all that, is because people want to get back there. They want to like take down their masks. They want to be in big major gatherings. Fucking Jake Paul is having like house parties and shit. That's exactly the problem. I think that's exactly the problem. Whether you believe it or not, whether you think it is just a flu, you know, which I will question your IQ by that point, but whether you think it is just a flu, you don't go, oh, it's just a flu, sneeze on my fucking face.
Right.
No one does that shit. You know what I mean? So even if you were to think it's something as minor as a flu, doesn't it fucking help that you don't want people to sneeze at your face and you don't want to sneeze on other people's face? And if you think that not letting yourself sneeze on other people's face is taking away your rights, then you're selfish. You just don't care about other people. It's that simple.
So you would say it's fair to say that in Singapore people took it seriously, and that's there. People are still taking it seriously, except for that celebration for your Founders Day, or whatever you called it. I'm sorry, your National
We
Day.
are legally required to wear a mask,
Okay.
and generally, almost everyone do it. Thankfully, once what's going on actually works. But with things like the results of the elections, um, the national holidays and stuff, people were still gathering in big groups. So to me is if you want to do something, you got to go to it all the way. If you want to be like, oh, we got to keep our distance until it's safe to be that way. And I'm sorry, if you want to celebrate the country's birthday and stuff, you got to do it with Zoom. Then you can't pick and choose when the virus will be active or not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. It's a weird. It's really weird, and of course, America has their own thing where we're number one, we're right, and we're chosen by God Himself. So like, there's just this bravado here that just I think we bite ourselves in the ass with it all the time, and we're just, I'm so all about maintaining, preserving our constitutional rights here in America. But man, I don't want to I'm not trying to infect my fellow countrymen. And the thing that I really liked, someone said it. I don't know who said it the other day, but they were saying that remember, maybe it was you that said is remember the mask is for other people, not for you. It's. I think that you might have said that in Raina's chat. It's like remember the fucking
guessing
mask. It's about other people. It's not about you, dummy. It's like get outside of yourself. Don't fuck. It's not just you in this world. It's not just me existing in a world. It's like all of us having to exist together. We sent 18-year-olds to war. We turned our steel to make tanks. You cannot buy gas on certain weeks to help our fellow man, but Karen needs her nails done and people pulling guns on people at Walmart. Yeah, exactly. And you know what's sad about all that too is that when all this went down in America, we realized how much we've shipped all of our jobs and the stuff that we really needed, like cotton and medicine. We shipped all that shit overseas, which in some aspects that's great because we're lifting the world out of abject poverty. The world has less poverty in it now than it ever has in history. Counter that, we have more slaves, like literal slaves now currently than we ever did in history. So I mean, there's something there.
There was
But
a talk by a medical expert for years in America saying, "Hey, we got to produce our own masks. We got to produce our own medical equipments because when a pandemic does strike, we can't rely on other countries because everyone is going to do things for themselves, and no one listened. So when COVID did hit, it's a rude awakening and something that it's not just affecting egos, it's affecting lives. Uh, and there are just like so many redundancy when it comes to where America is putting their labor and their time. Like you guys are like pouring milk like by the gallons, and just like and there's overproduction and not enough like like a process to make sure that everyone is getting fed, everyone gets like gets their nutrients and stuff, but at the same time we're pouring out the milk, we're throwing away the cheese. But there could be something done. There should be something done. Why are people starving when we can't even sell shit? We can't even sell the things that we produce on our own land.
yeah. No, it's true, man. It's very true. Why are we out here fucking overproducing and we pay farmers not to grow food? It's I mean it comes down to obviously money. It's obviously always about money. It's always about maintaining power. This interesting idea that me and my friend sort of were talking about is like, are you familiar with the Jeffrey Epstein case here? Jeffrey Epstein, he was
He totally killed himself.
yeah.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. So you're up to date on it. Okay. So get this. This is a far out idea. This is totally conspiracy. Back in 1996, in what was it? It was in Brussels. What city is Brussels in, or what country is Brussels in? Not Bavaria, Jesus. Anyways, in Brussels, in the country that Brussels exists in.
Belgium.
What? There's a
Belgium.
Belgium. Thank you. Back in the 90s, there was a huge case that sort of spawned huge protests in the streets that had to do with pedophilia and the elite. Now, they found out that the elite was sort of having this young. They had children. They were raping children. They were fucking torturing young girls. It was disgusting, and it was so gross that this whole country was like so pissed off that they all, like 300,000 people flooded the streets of Brussels, protests everywhere all over the country, on like how could we have all these fucking disgusting pedophiles in it. When you look at the history of power, and let's look at two opposite power structures. We got the Seminole Indians in Florida, and we all know what we think about Florida here. Seminole Indians in Florida, and was it the and the Romans, or was it the Greeks? They existed at the same time, different sides of the country, different, everything different, right? It's just opposite sides of the spectrum on how different they are. But still, in both of these empires, you had fucking kings and the high ups and the people of the ruling class always had little fuck boys, little kids around them that they could have sex with. And so you have these two opposite sides, right, of power. So that indicates to me that humans, when they come into too much power or so much power they don't know how to handle it, they need something more to sort of satisfy that ever-growing need to fill a power void once that power is in place. And so, all of that, you have a bunch of people here in the United States and all over the world. You have kings and princes who are all being fingered in this Jeffrey Epstein thing, in this elite pedophilia ring. Now, what if, now just stick with me here. What if, and Bill Gates is one of those people who are being fingered in this, by the way. He is documented flying on Epstein's private jet. Bill Gates, and also let's not forget that the week that the pandemic came, that Bill Gates released something on Netflix about a global pandemic and has been talking actively about this. Now, let's go to Wuhan, where a lab, I believe, is connected to Gates. I can't remember. I think that's wrong, actually. Don't quote me on that. We have this Wuhan lab that has contagions, right? They have these. They create diseases there, and no one wants to say that it leaked out and a bat got out. It's like we're gonna blame it on the wet markets, right? We're gonna blame it on the wet markets, and we're not gonna give any homage to the fact that it might have been leaked, or maybe, just maybe, we have a bunch of elites who had a really good idea about diverting attention from their fucking pedophilia ring by introducing a semi horrible disease into the world, right? Like this could be way worse, right? COVID is terrible. It's awful. It's killing people by the thousands, and it's awful. And I wish it didn't happen, but it's not as bad as it could be. Right? Like, it could be way worse. There's definitely diseases that do more damage than this one. So what if, just what if, you have these elites who concoct this? And by the way, not only did the pandemic divert the attention, or potentially in their mind, in this crazy plan, divert the attention from pedophilia, but it also made them considerably richer in the process by eliminating, local competition. And I mean, look at all the people who are profiting. We just said it, Amazon, whatever. Bill Gates is profiting hard off this. What if this was all just to divert from a potential uprising caused by the fact that we have so many prominent people in power who are fucking children? What if? I know that's crazy. I know it's crazy. But what if, right? What if? Are we going to get to the fact that 2020 and your government confirms the UFOs and aliens and no one even cares? Thank you. Thank you, Oversight Mod. Exactly. That is a great point, too. Just thinning the herd. Right, exactly as well. That is a great point, by the way, is that we're confirming UFOs and no one's talking about this shit. What we did Friday, we were talking about it, but it was brief and it was in between a heated discussion about politics. So it only made the person I was talking to look like a psychopath. But that is true.
That was an episode.
So I don't know. What do you think about that? How does that resonate with you? Does that even make sense to you? Would that be something that that would make sense to you? This is all speculation, obviously.
It's all speculation. The thing is, I have a very strong belief that people that are willing to young children, you know, uh, making them traumatized, in like severely injured and perhaps even dead, just to satisfy a specific need. I don't think the need is sexual.
No, it's not.
It's a power dynamic.
Right.
It's that that these are, if they are not too young, they're all too young. But my point is, if they're not, if they're not like fucking babies, if they are like like 9, 8 year old, is they are they are blank canvas, and they trust you, and you exploit that trust, and these people enjoy that, you know, or that they're powerless like a baby. So to me, it's always been a power, like a power struggle, not even struggle, just trumping over people, and having enjoyment with that. So to see if these people who are not just like who needs a lot of help, of course, and there are a lot of them are rich, powerful, well connected. I don't see that it's completely impossible that they are willing to it like hurt to even more people, just so that they can continue to do the terrible and awful things that they do.
While profiting tenfold.
And yeah, and that too, and they are also earning money from it, so it's a win-win. They get to not be caught out because people are too busy surviving, and they get to earn tenfolds.
I know I'm going to Alex Jones territory here, and I'm sure you don't know who Alex Jones is, but Alex Jones is he's been canceled. He was canceled very hard.
I mean, the frog's scared.
Thank you. You know who I'm talking about.
Go ahead.
I love that you're just so fucking American. It's just so funny to me that, I mean, I guess, in the age of internet and satellite TV, it shouldn't surprise anybody that cultures can be shared like this. But the funny thing about America is that we're not really interested in learning other cultures. We're not really interested in that. It's just like, we'll take it, we'll absorb it, and we'll make it our own. But like, we're not interested in like really understanding it. I don't know. That was just a blanket statement, I suppose. So, what do you have coming up, man? Like, what do you have? What kind of projects are you doing? What do you got coming up? You got any? I mean, I know everything's canceled. I mean, like, what kind of writing you doing? I mean, like, what kind of writer are you? I don't even know what kind of writer. You said you wrote for music publications, but
Yeah. I've written for a music festival. I've written for certain websites, but those were pro bono stuff. I written for a metal website, written for a music podcast, as like on the side they do the podcast, and I write about one of their tracks and stuff like that. And currently, what I'm getting paid for is I write for a lifestyle magazine.
oh, cool.
It pays because everyone still wants to look good in front of a camera. So there's still that money for that. People still want to know, how do they maintain the hair colors and curls and shit like that. So that's where most of my writing money comes from. Recently, I just appeared in a radio series, podcast
I
series,
listened
like a
to
radio
it.
play.
I didn't understand a fucking word you guys were saying, but I liked it. I liked the sound effects, and I liked that when the door opened, the bell rang, and that it paints a very vivid picture of what's happening.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that was good.
But then after that, I don't know what the fuck you guys were saying.
So that thing, I originally met the director and the team back in like early March, I believe. And the original plan was for it to be a micro movie, like a 40 minutes long movie. And we were so excited. We're like, oh my God, the script is great. This can be da 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 da. COVID came, so it couldn't happen. So I thought that it would either be scrapped or we have to wait until the thing is over. Then they contacted me. I mean, or rather, I contacted them because they put another casting call and said the lady in the story had a great speaking voice.
Yeah,
Ooh.
Raina really liked her
yeah.
voice. She's
yeah,
like, her
her
voice
voice
is
is
so
great.
calm. I like it.
Her voice. I don't know her personally, but Nice voice. So to work with the virus and all the social distancing and whatnot, they change it to a radio play, and that was great. I got to play a character who has level 2 autism, and it was really tough because if it was in a film media, I could. There's more like signifiers, like the physicality and all that stuff, little ticks and all that stuff. But when all I have is my voice and my character is primarily non-vocal, holy shit. Plus social distancing, I couldn't be on a live setting where I could hear the other characters and I respond accordingly. So there's kind of like a preamp of what I think they will be doing, and like giving different versions, a little less, a little more, a different variation, just to hope that when they edit, they could find the one that matches best. So yeah, that's my radio play that I did recently. Love Lamarck.
So how did you get over that barrier then? I don't know if you just explained that, but like, how did you get past that barrier of not having the visual aspect to work with? Like, you don't have your body, you don't have your tics. How did you get past that? What were some of the things that you did to get past that?
I
To
still
indicate that you were.
physically,
Oh, you were still physically
go on.
doing things. Well,
I was still physically,
but I'm saying, since it was a radio play or a podcast now, how do you convey that you're autistic without the physicality? Maybe I missed it in what you were saying.
yeah. Again, I think it's so important to say that autism isn't one thing. So the very first thing is when I got the script, when I met the director online, and we talk and all that stuff. Even in the booth itself, is I'm constantly checking things like, okay, so what are my triggers? What am I more sensitive to? What am I less sensitive to? What's my background? Did I went through special education because I'm autistic, or did I not have education, or did I go through a regular school? Was I successfully integrated into the regular school? How was it? What was it? And things like I had a discussion with my director about the 6 levels of a meltdown. Things like I can't remember what is it, regular, stimulated, meltdown, reassembly and stuff, and start over. There's 6 points. I can't remember all 6, but even on the booth, when I'm going through a certain line, and I don't have many lines, like I have very little lines for a 9-minute show. Every little and hi, all that, I'm like, where am I right now? Am I okay? Am I having the meltdown? Am I just finishing the meltdown? Am I starting over? Where am I? So I'm constantly checking the progress, and I did my research, and I make sure that with a voice and with the limitations that I have, that I could show to the audience and to the autistic people community that I was not willing and I did not portray a caricature, and I did my best to show that this is a guy who has this kind of family and he's going through this kind of situation, and this is how he would go through it. This is not someone without autism, like watching one show about of a character with autism and saying that's autism. That's my key, because there is so little representation, and mine being a level 2, which is like level 1 is what people consider Asperger's, where a lot of them go through normal school, and whatnot. Level 2 are less verbal. Level 3, a lot of them will require a lifetime worth of like assistance. Being level 2, a lot of them are not able to convey their frustration or even understand that they're being frustrated a lot of times, because emotions are quite complicated concept, or not complicated, a foreign concept for them. So I think that me being an actor and given that chance to finally play such a specific character, it will be an injustice for me to go, oh, let's scream and yell, because that's what a meltdown is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a acting is just so intensive. Like it's too exhausting to me. It's like Raina, she started acting, just a few years ago, just like 3, I think. It's so I seen the process of it, and it's just, man, it's. I'm okay with just hitting buttons and hitting strings and staying silent. That's my best. That's how I do things. Well, Boone, I really do appreciate you coming on the show. I appreciate you talking in depth about how, what it's like to sort of just be over there in another country, because I am just a dipshit American who, like, it's so funny how much I talk shit about how Americans can be so bravado and just be okay with being ignorant and shit, but then, like, I still have that notion inside of me as well. I still am like, yeah, America's number one, even though I know that we're quickly falling, and it's very sad. Oh, thank you for the claps. Do you have time to do a quick game?
Sure. Or before that, should I just talk about my upcoming stuff?
Please.
So
I'm sorry I cut you off.
Please. No, it's important because most of my stuff here I'm going to talk about is not much money behind it, if there's ever. So one thing that I'm doing is called Revolting Bodies.
Oh yes.
I'm working. Yeah, Revolting Bodies. It's a body positivity, multimedia, multidisciplinary work that I'm doing with people all over the world. Singapore, UK, France. I believe these are 3 countries. Great stuff, lovely, exciting. I did a few podcasts with them already. I'm hoping to do more work with other mediums with it if I'm able to. So that's Revolting Bodies. Recent-ish, I was in this compilation album called Dead Nazis Everywhere, where I did a track called 1916 by Catatonia. Important track came from this conversation I have with people, or rather people having online and whatnot, about people need to shut the fuck up about Black Lives Matter. It's been so long. It's been 400 years. Slaves. Rah, 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 rah. Then I'm like, yo, if I just Google real quick, in 1916, white people murdered a black young man, like by tying him on a tree, burning him and taking his body parts and taking photographs and selling as postcards, Jesse Washington. And that's been just slightly over 100 years, And so, and people are saying like, oh no, people who talk about BLM, slavery, they should just move on. Like, no, this is not that long. It's still going on in ways that it may not be as obvious, but it's still going on. So that track was very, very important to me.
Wait, can you say the name of that again?
Jesse Washington. I will type it out in the chats as well.
Yeah, I know the links are blocked on chat, but if you
no worries.
But if you put it
Jesse Washington.
Okay, Jesse. That's the
yeah, the one from 1916.
Oh no. So the name of of the album.
Yeah, sure.
Of the compilation, because I'm gonna pull it up so people can see it.
Sure. It's called Dead Nazis Everywhere.
Dead Nazis Everywhere, which is
I not just upsearch. So with this record, all digital sales would go to Emancipate North Carolina. Lovely. There are also physical albums of it on cassettes, on CDs. But if you really want to support making sure that there is education of people with disabilities, helping people to get out of to pay for bail because they were in the protests and whatnot, please consider buying the album on digital. All proceeds will go to such a wonderful cause. So that is Dead Nazis Everywhere.
Dead Nazis Everywhere, which is a very, very, very it's a good title. It's funny.
Yeah, mine's Catatonia. It's like 24, 25, something along that line.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. I was gonna play a little bit just so they can get an idea of what we're talking about here. Oh, there you are. I'm gonna play a little bit so you guys get an idea. So this is Boon. This is Catatonia. His
farmer that he worked for
AKA
was found dead. He was arrested. He was brought to trial.
There you go.
Trial took from Panic as well.
I'm only gonna play a little bit of it if you don't mind.
And found him guilty.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll put the full length on the video. Okay, hold on. Let me pause this here. Anyways,
Sure.
so it's noises, protests, and we were talking about that earlier about the reasonings behind the noise music and stuff, and of course the reason behind this album as well. And I also wanted to pull up Revolting Bodies. This is Revolting Bodies. This is their Instagram. I'll make sure I put everything in the Discord so you guys can go click on it and just have fun with it. Can one of my mods drop the Discord just so if anybody wants to jump in there, they can. And so, okay. Anyways, I just wanted to show that so everybody could get a picture. And then what else you got, bud?
Right now we are looking for we're planning for July. We're waiting for the results. If we do get it, then we get to pay the performers more. But we are doing a Zoom theater performance. At the way the show would go, it's heavily dependent on the audience decisions. That's as far as I will go. Yeah, because the show will unfold as it develops.
Gotcha.
And in a way, I don't know what will happen because it depends every night on what the audience goes with it, which is the exciting part.
Oh, okay. So you get. Oh, hold on. You can't even see my face. So it's like it's like a choose your own adventure type of thing. Like people get to
So there'll
sort
be
of
like
pick the outcome of a situation.
Yeah, there'll be like voting. There will be a peanut gallery. There'll be all kinds of really, really fun stuff. We did a test run already, and the response was really, really good. Now we just gotta wait. If we get the grant, then we have to polish it so we do not lose that grant as well. But if not, then we will put it out anyway because we are really proud of that work.
That's awesome, man. I is that what you were doing when I think Raina was trying to keep us up until like 2 a.m. or something? Is that the thing you're doing? I'm totally down to check it out. Totally more rock.
Yeah.
I will turn down my notifications, oversight mod. My bad. I'm still getting used to the notifications and shit. Okay, is there anything else?
Is there anything else? It's so not well, right? Is there anything else? Really just take care of each other without losing self-care. I think that is quite important. A lot of people are just being bogged down with all this depressing news and they want to be involved in everything. But the fact is that we have our own shit and we have our own worries, and don't let people shame you for not sharing every news that's happening and not being concerned publicly for every fucking thing, because we are. It's just that we need to take care of ourselves. If not, we're going to be drained. That's key.
Yeah, man. I feel you. All right. Well, let's play a game. If you're down, let's do it. We'll do a couple rounds. This is called How Much Does It Cost on Craigslist? You guys got Craigslist, right? There's a Craigslist over there?
We had a Craigslist, but it's not for items.
Oh, is it just for like buying like sex and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Tight. So, and he's like, yeah, whatever, which is fine. Yeah,
Like
prostitution.
Tinder, but with shadier people.
I think prostitution has a bad name, man. Because, well, I mean, if it was done in a safe manner, then who gives a shit? Like if a woman or a dude or whatever you want to call yourself, if they're wanting to go out there and they want to sell their ass for some money, then that's fine. That's their prerogative. But the problem is that when it's illegal, it's like you drive it underground and then you have unsafe sex practices. We're spreading diseases. Women or the prostitutes are being beaten, murdered, raped, whatever, because no one gives a fuck. and you got fucking, and their pimps are treating them horrible or whatever the situation is. It's very unsafe. But if we made it legal, at least we could put it in like a safe place where these people who want to be prostitutes can be safe, and there's a doctor that sees them regularly, and like if we just take the stigma off of it and just call it for what it is, people just want to fuck. People just want to fuck. They just want to bust a nut, and that's it. That's human nature. As soon as you start putting a clamp down on that, boy, people get weird. Okay, so let me get this set up a little better for everybody. Let me come back to the main.
Sending mine, no one bought.
All right, I'm gonna set this up so we can. What is this? Oh my god, this has been on the whole time. Get out of here. All right, I'm gonna get our Craigslist stuff, and I'm gonna share my screen with you so you can see the actual products. Okay, guys. So the name of the game is how much does it cost on Craigslist? We're playing for patches. This is pretty topical. Jeff Epstein didn't kill himself. There you go. We got Let's Start 2020 over again. There you go. We got San Francisco Wu-Tang patch. Wu-Tang San Francisco. And of course, we got Ace Ventura 2. Okay, so we're going to play for 2 of these patches. And then we'll let Max level again. LOL, the ears are bleeding. I'm sorry, man. I don't know how to do it from here. I'll try to stop. I'll give you a warning next time, Oversight. But thank you for telling me that, because I will definitely go in and fix that as soon as I'm done here, because I do not want your ears to bleed. Okay, so what are we doing? Let's do a pinball machine. Who wants to do a pinball machine? Okay, so the name of the game is how much does it cost on Craigslist? And the idea is it's kind of like The Price is Right, but you can go over. So it's whoever is closest to the actual price is the winner. And that's it. So we're going to do 2 of them. We're playing for patches. And I'm going to get... I keep wanting to call you Snooze Mew, but I'm going to get Boon over here. I'm going to get Snooze Mew here. Okay, I'm going to get you your entire screen. Yes. Okay. I'm sharing my screen with you. Can you see my screen?
It's loading. Yep,
Oh, it's probably insane, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. Is that better or worse?
It's better.
Can you see the
And
product?
just so I don't cheat, I'm not gonna look at chat. Okay.
Oh no, you can look at chat. Everyone's guessing. Okay,
Yeah, let's do that. Let's see.
Let me get it up here. I did the opposite thing I was supposed to do, which was I was supposed to get right. I'm sorry, Oversight. I forgot. Hey, Mango, what's going on? $1. You calm down, Mango. We're not even there yet. Hold on. Let me get my NDI looking better. Or no, I don't even know why I had to say that. I'm just gonna give it a little more so you guys can see a little bit more of the picture when we're playing here. So there we go. Okay. All right. Oversight. Plug your ears. Here it goes. All right. All right, guys. Here it is. It's Indiana Jones Pinball Machine. Indiana Jones Pinball Machine, or Pinball Stern 2008, has LEDs installed and rubbers were replaced approximately a year ago. Very good condition. Everything works. Lowball offers will be ignored, so do not even try to lowball this fool. All right. Go ahead, guys. Drop it in the chat. How much do you think this item costs on Craigslist? I don't know where it's out of. I think this is out of Miami, Florida. Mango says $67.29. What do you think? Oh, you know what? Since you're on chat, Boon, just drop it in chat how much you think this is in American dollars. Ooh, 3,000. Snooze Mew. Rain of Mystique says 28.
I think that this guy knows what he's doing because he's talking about like the technical stuff and whatnot. And I think 3,000 will make enough sense that people might consider.
That
I think this guy is serious because I see another pinball machine next to it as well.
wait, is that Mango? Are you changing? Are you trying to change your bid? Because once you, which I should always start. Once it's in the chat, that's it. There's no going back. So once it's in the chat, there's no going back, folks. I should have opened with that. My bad. I should have told y'all that once it's in the chat. My first one was a joke. Oh, 672.
This is true, by the way. I love pinball. I absolutely love pinball. I don't know about the prices of one, but I love playing them. I have like pinball games on my computer. I love playing. The most recent one that I really like was the Beatles pinball. Oh, that's so fun. That
Right.
one is so fun.
I was seeing if I could see you. No, we can't see him. Sorry, everybody. We can't see our guest too. My bad. Only the pinball. Only pinball matters here. Okay. Let me. That looks terrible. Let me fix this. Okay. Oversight mod. Plug your ears. Here it goes. Fresh. Okay. The dollar doesn't count. Okay.
Well, it doesn't count.
I don't know what she's talking about. No reduce.
Oh, as in, I shouldn't be putting the dollar sign on it.
Oh no,
Is that what
it's,
you mean?
it's totally fine. I think I don't know what she's talking about, and I don't think she's talking about you at all. So it's all good. We're gonna get our answer here. All right, guys, let's see. We got all our oops, that's not it. Okay, actual retail price. Oh, I forgot to put the fucking drum roll on here. Gosh darn it. Actual retail price on Craigslist. $3,800, mighty. I think you took. Who put $10,000?
Yeah.
Spice saucy chicken nugget. You put $10,000. Get out of here. Thank you for
I got
that
it.
single bit. Thank you very much, Saucy. I appreciate it. So mighty. Send that thing in the oversight. I appreciate that. I appreciate that too. Wait a that Wallace? What did you put? I put 3,800. Wallace, you just change it. Wallace, you just change your shit. You made me think I missed it. I was like, wait, did Wallace do that? Oh, okay. Wallace, you fucking with me. You're fucking with me. Okay. All right. Mighty, you know the drill. Whisper me your address. All right, we're moving on. One more. We're going to do one more. And then we're going to let Snooze Mew on his way. I'm just going to call you Snooze Mew. It's easier. All right. Oh, no. I just gave away the answer. Never mind. We're not doing that one. Damn it. Okay. I guess we're doing old tile. Oh, do you guys want to do oil painting or old tile? Oil painting. Or how about you, Boon? Oil painting or old tile?
Oil painting.
Okay. We're going to do the oil painting. Here we go. Now, this is out of Blissfield, Michigan, which I didn't know where the last one was out of. So, but in Michigan, it's a shitty little town in Michigan. It's small. It's a drive-through town. So, it's not like Miami where everything's overpriced. So, I'm just giving you that. Just take it into consideration. This is a T. Fillins large oil painting. Flawless condition. Flawless. Absolutely mint condition, ready to go from my home to yours. I'll even deliver within reason. Okay, so there you go, folks. The T. Fillins painting. I don't even know who the fuck that guy is. Drop that in the chat. How much do you think this oil painting is worth in crappy little town Michigan?
Wonder would they go unbelievably overpriced because they think they got like the best thing in the world, or would they just go so low because they just figure, nah, no one's gonna get this anyway?
You gotta imagine they're uncultured blumpkins. I'm sorry.
But like some people,
Just kidding.
like how when
I know what you said. Yeah, they might. Go ahead.
How people would bring like old Beatles records to record shop and go, oh, this is worth $1,000, right?
Right.
Yeah, it could be that as well. I'm thinking.
Yeah, totally. It could be. I mean, like, who the fuck is T. Fillins? I've never heard T. Fillins. I mean, that could be their grandfather.
I think I'm going to go that route.
Okay. Fair. It's fair.
Let's say he goes for something like this. Yeah.
82. Oh, look at you. Okay, okay. Is that
Just
everybody?
size that.
Saucy, you want to get in on
Yes.
this? Give it to the guest. Oh, Mighty Mighty says that she wants you to have the patch. So, Snooze Mew, when we are done,
Mighty, mighty.
you can drop me a mailing address, and I will mail anywhere in the world, folks. I don't care where it's at. Anywhere in the world, I'll mail the patch. So, okay, we got our answers. So we'll find. Let's see, actual retail price on Craigslist. Hold on. All right, open up. Come on, guy. Oh, you are open. Jeez Louise. Oh my god. I got the wrong one. That's why. Um Oil painting. Actual retail price on Craigslist. I shouldn't have done that to my microphone. $3,000, folks. That's right.
Pew, pew, pew.
8,200 guy better deliver for free, right? Yeah. So it was 3,000. Who is the closest? It looks like Mango. Mango. There it is, Mango. I think this is your first prize that you've won. Mango. Drop your. You can either drop in the Discord or whisper, and let me know which patch you want as well. Epstein didn't kill himself. Let's start 2020 over. San Francisco 49ers Wu-Tang patch, or Ace Ventura from When Nature Calls. I forgot. It's Ikusu Acho. I forgot what that means, but whatever. So, Mango, do that in the Discord or in the in my whispers, and I will send that out to you. And since none of my mods wants to put the Discord in here, I guess I'll do it myself. Okay, guys, that was fun. Let me get Snooze Mew back on board here, so we have our guest, so we can properly say bye to him. You're just gonna have to see all my stuff, everybody. See my stuff, everybody. There's my stuff. All right, thank you for those claps. I appreciate it. Well, Boon, I appreciate it. Where can people find you? What's the best way to get a hold of you? What?
You can find me on Instagram.
Okay.
It's my name, but without any spaces. So TEHAOBOON.
There you go. How do you say your name, by the way? Like, how do you say it, your full name?
So it's T like coffee and tea. How as in how are you? Boon as in good. Boon.
Boon. Yeah. So it's T How Boon. It's not. I thought it was Tay How Boon, but.
Okay. So.
Oh, well, that was it. right at the good part. Yeah, no problem, Mango. I appreciate you hanging out and playing with us. I don't know what happened to Boon, but that's okay. We love him anyways. Snooze Mew, Boon, thank you so much for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I'm disconnecting you, buddy. I'm sorry. But we will talk later in the discourse, I am sure. Let me see what we got here. Sorry, oversight.